And welcome back, everybody, to episode 203 of Two Goalies, One Mic, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 6 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, make sure you make it a Fatty Beer. Let them know Two Goalies, One Mic sent you. I am Duane, your host, my co-host Connor Hurley, joining us from sunny and just as hot California. How was your week, girls? And pretty excited for tonight's guest, who will, I know you're expecting to see him now, but he will not be on with us until 9 o'clock. So hold your horses. He'll be on soon enough.
Yeah, we're good. Week's been good. It's been hot summer. Playing a lot of hockey still. I've got playoffs coming up in both of my leagues tomorrow and Thursday night. Second place in both leagues for the regular season. Was in first most of the year, and then we faltered a little bit at the end, but I think we got a good shot to win. Unfortunately, actually, if my team does make it to the championship in both leagues, I will be in Buffalo. I am coming home in a couple weeks for my best friend's wedding, actually. You're
going to miss the championship game.
In both leagues, unfortunately. But if I do help my team get to the championship game in both leagues, at least in one of the leagues, there's a chance a guy who may play in the AHL this season fill in for me. So that would be just good for my team generally.
Yeah.
His name is Matthias Scholl. He was a borderline Hobie Baker finalist at Bemidji State past 4 years.
Who is it?
So his name is Matthias Scholl. He just signed with the Ontario Reign, the Kings AHL affiliate. Okay, so there's a chance. There's a chance he fills in for me. Yeah, Portillo is there. So that would be funny. And also, I don't think I'd be at risk of losing my spot, which is good because it's an AHL goalie. So I'm not too worried about that. But it's been a long season. But yeah, I'll be home in a couple weeks. My good buddy Jeff, I'll be the co-best man for his wedding in Buffalo, August 23rd. And then I'll be spending a week or so in Buffalo. So hopefully I'll be able to see some of you when I'm out there.
Yeah, I'll definitely obviously set a time to make sure I get a few soda pops in with you. Hopefully I'll be mobile. When is it again?
I'll be home the 21st, and then I'm going to New York a week later, but I'll be home the 21st to the 27th, and then
of this month.
And then the 31st and the 1st. So
we'll definitely make that happen.
Sporadically throughout the end of the month and into the beginning of September. But yeah, I'll have some free time aside from the wedding, so it'll be good.
Like tomorrow is a pretty big day for me. I just had a CT scan on my right ankle a week ago. So like I'll find out the results of that tomorrow from my another follow-up appointment with my orthopedic surgeon. And depending on how that all looks is going to kind of dictate, a lot of things, it could mean the difference between me going back to work sooner or later, or me possibly being on the shelf even longer. And, hoping for the best, man. But I don't know, hopefully I'll be a little bit more mobile when you get here. Walking a lot better. However, there's zero chance I could run a mile or even a quarter mile right now, or even run down the street.
We'll stash you on the LTIR.
Yeah, or I'm in the long-term, then on the LTIR. So you need me for playoffs. I won't affect the cap, put it that way. I will not. We got the Vegas loophole. No, man. Yeah, it's been a fun week. I'm glad we could finally get Devon on with us. For those of you who don't know, I think we might have mentioned the show before. He was actually supposed to be in Alex Lyon's spot a few weeks ago, but Devon, being the professional that he is, didn't want to be on a podcast while negotiating a new contract. Obviously, we all know he just signed his new deal. Congrats to him. But I get it, So next best possible guest we could have on in that spot was the newly signed Alex Lyon, and that was an electric interview in itself. So
yeah, it was pretty great. I listened back to it today, and we were talking about a few of the one-liners he gave us and just generally giving us 45 minutes, I think it was, and how forthcoming he was with a lot of his answers and his approach to the position of goaltending in general. I found to be unbelievably enlightening and interesting. He's a super well-spoken guy, as I think a lot of people saw in his first media interview with the Sabres, which I found to be super refreshing. I think a lot of guys, especially athletes, kind of get bogged down by questions in the media sometimes, and they're not always extremely forthcoming. That is not the case with Alex Lyon. I think every single time he talks to the media this season, we're going to get his authentic, genuine self. And he is letting us in to a culture and a position in a way that I personally haven't seen before. So I think it's going to be really, really cool. And hopefully he plays a good amount. So we'll have the opportunity to hear from him. And I think, as you said, I think he's got a really good chance to play a lot of games this season, depending on how everything goes with UPL and even Devon. The Sabres have a very good competition goalie going in net. And I think it's more than anything going to benefit all of them. It's going to push them all even harder to be great. And that in turn is going to beneficial. It's going to be beneficial to the entire team.
100%. And even Alex said, like, we asked him, are you the type of goalie that thrives when you're like kind of backed into a corner, right? And he said, oh, absolutely. And I feel like Devon's the same way. So I think, come training camp, I don't think anybody is just going to sit, you know what I mean? I wouldn't expect Devon to be that guy, even though it's a two-way deal, going to like just sit by and accept Rochester. You know what I mean? He's going to battle. He's going to want the position with Buffalo. But I also think that if it doesn't work out like that, he's going to go ball out in Rochester and, go chase a Calder Cup.
Absolutely. And I think he's probably more accepting of that possibility than he probably previously was 2 years ago, being pushed into the NHL as quick as he was. But I think a lot of goalies realize that the development path, especially to the NHL, is nonlinear. And guys like Connor Hellebuck that we've mentioned before, Ryan Miller played a lot of games. It was partially because of the lockout, but he probably would have played 100+ games in the AHL anyway. It's kind of how it goes. And for a guy who's only played 63 games, I think it is, in the AHL thus far, 68 games, and he doesn't turn 24 until this December, he's right along the path he needs to be. And I think he'll speak to that because having that momentum coming off the end of his, I guess it was his second or third season at Northeastern, winning the Bean Pot, being not forced into, but being thrusted into the Sabres playoff race and the playoff push at the time that he was, it made sense, right? And we've said it many times before on the show that if he had joined the team a week earlier, the Sabres probably would have made the playoffs.
100%.
And that speaks to how hot he was at the time, but it's not necessarily indicative of long-term NHL success. Like, it's a completely different league. It is the hardest league in the world, and it takes some time to adjust. And as his AHL numbers have shown, he's right along the path that he needs to be on. And I think if he continues along that path, continues to work hard, continues to push himself, then I think we all know where his career is going to go. So really looking forward to seeing that.
You going to watch Hard Knocks tonight? You're watching.
I now live less than a 2-minute walk away from the Bills bar in Santa Monica. Kind of planned that on purpose. I basically zoomed into that location and then started clicking apartments in the area. So thankfully I'm super close, and we are hosting a little watch party there tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific. So after this, I'm going to mosey on over there, and we're going to watch it on tape. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to stay off social media until then because I don't want any spoilers, but I'm really, really excited. I worked on Hard Knocks when I was at NFL Films, actually, my first job out of college. And it was one of the coolest experiences of my professional life. It was the Falcons Hard Knocks in the summer of 2014 when they had Julio Jones and Matt Ryan. And that was the season or 2 seasons before the horrible super loss to the Patriots, unfortunately. But the turnaround for that show and the amount of hours of footage and manpower that they have to get the best possible content and put it into an episode and get the best moments and everything related to it. Anything NFL Films does is incredible, but I believe that Hard Knocks is one of the longest running, best productions that they do. So I think this is specifically going to be great.
Have you when they first announced that the Bills were going to be on Hard Knocks, how did you feel about that? Just like from outside, because I don't know what the record is of teams and how all they perform the season they're on Hard Knocks. If you're it's just this like a conspiracy theorist as in life as you are as a goalie? Like, did you feel like, oh no, I don't want this? Because I heard rumors that the Bills themselves didn't want this, but they were kind of forced into it.
So the NFL changed the rules this offseason so that previously teams that had made the playoffs the season before or had a new head coach or a couple different rules were able to refuse it, right? And I would say that the Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott era of the Bills is pretty tight knit with how they protect information inside that building. So I think having cameras in every single meeting room, having players mic'd up when they previously wouldn't be mic'd up, having that information go outside of a house is inherently a little bit nerve-wracking. But when it comes to NFL films specifically, I think every organization in the league trusts what they're doing, right? Like, obviously the Joe Shane thing with Saquon Barkley was a bit of a disaster, but that was their own fault.
That was crazy.
Admitting that, exactly. That was their own fault. Like, you don't say things that could potentially come back to bite you in that specific way. But yeah, I think it's inherently nerve-wracking, but at the end of the day, like, the culture is so good and the success is there. Obviously they haven't made it to the mountaintop yet, but they're as prominent of an NFL organization as there is right now. And for them to be selected when effectively any team could be selected, I believe it's an honor. I believe that they're going to work with the directors and producers on the ground and also with the league to show themselves in the best way possible. Obviously, there has been a little bit of drama. There have been a few fights at camp. There's the Maxwell Hairston thing. There's obviously the James Cook contract negotiation. But at the end of the day, like, we all know this stuff already. So now we're just going to get an inside lens in the day-to-day operations with how the team is talking about it, how people are handling it, how people are, all these injuries. I think it's going to be extremely compelling, not only as a Bills fan, but as a football fan, as a fan of storytelling and documentaries. These guys and girls that at NFL Films, they are the best at what they do. And I truly, truly believe it's going to be extremely compelling.
I'm not sure how big like a football guy Devon Levi is. We know he's been to games. Actually, I remember the picture of him, the group picture of them at a Bills game. I think it was like last season or the season before. And he was wearing like dad New Balance shoes and like these just were like very like dad blue jeans. It was like he looked just so out of place in that whole group picture. And I'm like, are those New Balance Air Monarchs you're wearing?
I mean, it's that hockey player style off the ice. Yeah. If you've ever seen a hockey player do an off-ice workout, they look so unbelievably out of place for the most part, and they don't look like they would be an athlete in any sense of the word.
We're talking about hockey player styles. I mean, I think that's like the last couple of years that's been a big like content, like something that's highlighted in terms of content with the NHL. Like, you know, what are they wearing? What are the players wearing before they come into games? And then, you know, you see Devon Levi out in the wild at a Bills game and he's just like wearing Air Monarchs and just dad jeans.
Got to be comfortable. At the end of the day, that's what matters, right? I'm gonna wear Zubaz and boots and probably a Bills crew neck to almost any Bills game I go to. So it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're comfortable and you're able to focus and enjoy the game. I respect it. But no, I'm not. Back to your question real quick. I'm not concerned at all about any type of curse. I'm not concerned at all about any type of like conspiracy related to it. I think it's more so just something really cool that us as Bills fans are going to be able to see probably for the last time in the Josh Allen era. Like the Bills aren't going to be on Hard Knocks again while Josh Allen's the quarterback. Yeah. And for us to get another inside look into an organization in such a pivotal time in their franchise, given all of the playoff losses and all the heartbreak and the relative prominence, I believe is super unique. And I, for one, am just unbelievably excited about it.
100% agree. Like, I'll be completely transparent. I'll be honest, and you can judge me if you want. I have never watched a single episode of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, and I think that like this would probably want to make you watch other seasons. Like if you there are articles that rank the Hard Knock seasons, and they're all on HBO if you have HBO, and you can go back and watch, and like those are a good watch, and almost like even better knowing what happened to these players down the line. Yeah. Right, like Des Bryant, like some of the Ravens teams that won Super Bowls in the early 2000s, Rex Ryan with the Jets when they went to AFC Championship games. There's some really, even the Falcon season that I worked on, like there's some really compelling storylines, like really, really cool moments. And obviously there's some drama here and there, but at the end of the day, like football is the most popular sport in the country for a reason. And I do believe that this is just a sign that football is almost here. I think it's a month to the day that we get that first Thursday night game or Friday night game in Brazil or whatever. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm as big of a NFL Bills fan as I am a Sabres fan. So it's just a really, really cool thing for me. And even just as a fan of documentaries and sports storytelling, it's going to be really cool.
I watched Rex tell his team.
Yeah, I mean, that's an iconic moment in Hard Knocks history.
Well, you're talking right now about we just Devon Levi signing his deal, like James Cook, some big news coming out of obviously with Kyrie Williams contract, very comparable numbers, and it's almost a did his agent do a disservice by doing what filling his head with you're worth this much, and you see a guy who has very identical numbers to him signed for $11 million.
I would even argue that Kyron Williams deserves more than James Cook.
Deserves more? Yeah, I agree. I think he's better than James Cook.
I wouldn't necessarily say even better. He played 86% of snaps last year, whereas James Cook played 46. He's a true workhorse back. And not to get too deep into this, I was doing a lot of fantasy football research today. But for a guy to be deserving of that type of money, of Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, that type of money, that is the standard, right? Like he said before that he wants to play on third downs, but if you're a liability in pass protection and you're not going to be as good out of the backfield as a guy like Ty Johnson is, then you might not be worthy of the money that you think you are, even though you set a record for Bills rushing touchdowns last season. So I can't wait to see that discourse. He's not a guy that talks a lot, but it is the biggest storyline at Bills camp at the moment, and especially given that they're going to touch on it tonight. The past 2 days, like he's decided to hold in and not actually practice.
Which not practice, he just out in his sweatsuit or whatever.
Yeah, it's a change of course of what he said he was going to do in minicamp and to begin camp. So it makes me think that they think the deal is closer to the finish line, and the two sides are closer than we believe they are. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me too. And again, when I say one's better than the other, it's I just think that one quarterback has Josh Allen and the other one doesn't, right? So it's that also plays quite a bit into it. When you have you're a lot more dangerous in the pass game in Buffalo than you are. No offense to was it Stafford? Still Stafford?
Yeah, they were pretty good in that game out here in LA. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, it's just I don't know, man. I think the running back, I don't want to say is less important when you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, but I think Kyrie Williams is much more important to his team. Put it that way. I think Williams is much more important to his team than James Cook is, regardless of how many touchdowns he had last year. I'm not trying to take anything away from him.
Right.
But I think if we found out tomorrow that we were trading James Cook, and I don't want to trade James Cook, I would for Micah Parsons. I'll tell you that. Oh, for sure. Yeah. But I don't think fans would be, because, you have Ray Davis, and Ray Davis proved a lot last year. And then Ty Johnson proved a lot, For sure. I think. But
no, if they agreed to a similar deal that Kyron got, I'd be happy.
Yeah. So one thing I saw before, obviously we're waiting on Devon Levi here. Obviously, hopefully I'm here at 9 p.m. Is what he told me. Originally scheduled for 8:30, but he asked to push to 9. But we obviously went on with the show at 8:30. NHL or that I forget what the page is. They came out with their 10. Did you see this? They ranked the 10 best shootout players.
I saw the first 2, but I didn't see the whole list.
So, Brad Boyes was on that list. And they just decided to ignore the fact that he was ever a Buffalo Sabre and just use all Florida Panther highlights.
I don't think of Brad Boyes as a Buffalo Sabre.
No, not at all. But he had some pretty nasty shootout goals as a Buffalo Sabre. 50 attempts, though. I saw minimum 50 attempts. That is a lot of shootouts in your NHL career. If you really think about it, how many shootouts did the Buffalo Sabres, play in last year?
Not many.
Not many. So to think, holy crap, man, 50 shootout attempts. Kuznetsov was on there. Tyler Seguin was on there. TJ Oshie, obviously. Alexander Barkov, I think, was ranked number 2. And then I forget number 1. He was with the Rangers, but an insane list. And some guys.
Sabres were in 6 shootouts last season.
Yeah. So like, if you were to pick 10 shootout players, just your 10, if you're a head coach and you're like, these are my guys, like, who are they for you? Because a lot of those names I would have never thought of.
Like of all time?
Of all time, current or all time.
Or in the shootout era, or if I'm picking 10 NHL players in history okay, wow. All right. This is a good one. I will start with, let me see if I can write these down. 10. I will go fittingly with Thomas Vanek. Thomas Vanek, I think, revolutionized the around the world move and the slap shot from the top of the slot. I thought that was super creative as a player, and it threw off the goalie in a way that I think we haven't seen before. So I'll go with Vanek for number 10. Let's go number 9. This might be too low, but I don't think he had too many opportunities in his career. But Pavel Datsyuk, I think that move, the flip move, when he went to his backhand or his forehand and then flipped it over the goalie, I think that was unbelievably creative and really, really good, and obviously super hard to stop. So I'll put him there. Number 8. If we're just talking like some of the most talented players in NHL history, just from a talent perspective, I don't know how you don't put Gretzky on there. He didn't have too many shootouts in his life, and he wasn't the best goal scorer, but at the end of the day, it's Wayne Gretzky. And if you're going to pick 10 players in NHL history to be in a shootout lineup, I'm going to go Gretzky. Similarly, the guy that just passed him, I'm going to go Ovechkin. I'm not necessarily sure what his numbers are, but I would want the number 1 goal scorer in NHL history to be in my shootout lineup. Number 6, specifically good shootout guys. I have a vague memory of Pavel Bure being really good at breakaways back in the day. I know Mike Richter had a really good save on him in the Stanley Cup Finals, but with his speed and his hands, I think Pavel Bure would be a very good one to have. Modern day guys, obviously, we just mentioned on that list. You can't not include TJ Oshie, given what he did in 2014 in Sochi. TJ Sochi, as they called him. I think it was against Bobrovsky in that USA-Russia game. So it's hard not to include him. Number 4. Who would I include? Number 4. Gosh, Datsuk's a good one. Let's go Forsberg. I think Forsberg probably didn't get too many opportunities. Oh, he did the leave behind move on the backside, I think, a few times. I'm not sure if he made that famous, but I think you got to include Peter Forsberg with how talented he was. Number 3. I guess Mario Lemieux. If anyone hasn't gone back and watched Mario Lemieux highlights from back in the day, I think his talent level and his ability to do unbelievable things with the puck was kind of unheard of. So I'll go with Lemieux for now. Number 2. Have you heard this? Well, I'll read you my list so far. We've got Vanek 10, Datsuk 9, Gretzky 8, Ovechkin 7, Pavel Bure 6, TJ Oshie 5, Peter Forsberg 4, Mario Lemieux 3, and now I need a 2 and a 1, and I'm not sure if. Yeah, I guess we'll go with Jágr.
Jágr, I think he would be up there. I mean, I'm not sure how much of his career was spent in the shootout era, like obviously, but did I remember him just having just filthy hands? And I think Bure is probably too low on your list personally.
Yeah,
I remember like him just doing things during games at full speed with the puck that I think guys would probably struggle with, like just in practice.
Yeah,
he was just he was magic. There was I forget what that, not to cut you off, but there was Steve Bennett would be disappointed at me for not remember this game, but there was like some type of showcase. I think it was before he was drafted, maybe, or when he was drafted. He was playing for Team Russia, and he had like 5 goals against like Canada, maybe. I forget who it was against. Maybe you can look it up. Somebody in the chat can look it up. But like he was just absolute domination, and just that whole all those players that came over from Russia, the original ones, just like how good they were, how fantastic their hands were. Who was the one player? He was with Montreal. To look this up, but I want to say he was almost maybe their captain. I remember watching a video with him and just him practicing breakaways and shooting, and he was taking shots with one hand, and just ripping them top corner. And I'm like, dude, like none of my friends can shoot that hard with one.
Yeah. I mean, for the guys that have like the highest amount of attempts, that have the highest percentage, the highest if it's minimum 50 attempts, I don't know if he was on the list, but Eric Christensen apparently had
he over 50%, right?
Yeah, he was the only one with over 50 attempts to be 52.7%, over 50%.
Yep, he was number 1. Number 2 was Barkov.
Yeah,
I feel like we're missing so many names too.
He's up there as well. I think a lot that discussion is mostly like theoretical. You know what I mean? Like a lot of guys haven't had opportunities. I mean, McDavid's only had 33, but he's at 45.5%. I'll just put McDavid at 1 because I do believe he's the most talented hockey player that I've seen. And I think if he continues along this pace, he has an argument to potentially be the greatest hockey player of all time. So I'm going to put McDavid at 1, which would make my list be Vanek, Datsuk, Gretzky, Ovechkin, Bure, Oshie, Forsberg, Lemieux, Yager, and McDavid. I think that's a pretty good 10.
That's a good 10, no doubt. I mean, it doesn't have. I mean, tomorrow you might even change up that order. You know what I mean? Like, Alexei Kovalev. That's who it was. Alexei Kovalev was an incredible player, and I think one of the knocks on him, if I'm not mistaken, was he was just lazy. But his hands were It's crazy to me that guy wasn't like a 50-goal scorer every year.
I mean, so I would even put a guy like Marin Gaborik on there with how good his shot was. Like guys you don't think about being as good as they were, but him having specifically a really good shot.
One name I don't think I heard you say it. What about Pat Kane?
Yeah, I mean, I'll put Kane on there. I'll tie him with Vanek. It's him and Vanek at 10.
At 10? You're putting Kane at 10?
Well, I mean, this, like you said, this doesn't have to necessarily be in order. Just 10 guys. You know what I mean?
Coda Leak, dude. I remember Coda Leak during those.
Yeah, Coda Leak was great. I mean, I was even gonna say Connolly just with how good his hands were. I don't know how many shootout attempts he had, but
not a lot.
Figure a guy like Tim Connolly would be really good at the shootout.
Oh my God, yeah. That's actually a question I'd be curious to ask Devon when he gets on. Like, who in Rochester, like, is just incredible, like shootout breakaway wise, and I mean, in comparison to Buffalo, like, they got some shooters down there.
Even within the organization right now, like, I think the best right now is Jack Quinn.
Yeah, I have to say, before that, you'd say probably Casey Middlestat. He had incredible hands.
Yeah,
and he still has. Yeah, man. That list though, I was like 50 shootout attempts. Like, I don't know if you watched 50 shootouts. It's insanity. Like, absolute insanity. You think too, Ilya Kovalchuk, another one. Guy was incredible. Just didn't have a long career in the NHL.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of guys that I think you could slot in there, and then there wouldn't be that much of an argument. But I think, I mean, it's a very specific skill set, right? And like, it doesn't always translate to being the best NHL player, but a guy like Eric Christensen having the highest percentages.
Nobody would ever guess that name.
I didn't know that. That's a good fun fact, actually.
Like, I mean, when I was going down that list, I was just like, there's just no way, like, this name isn't like Datsuk. Like, because I wasn't seeing Datsuk's name in there at all, or like, the name you named. I'm like, oh, like, really? No, like.
I think the list is probably related to the percentage, directly related to like how high the percentage was. So it's guys you wouldn't think of, and I think that's pretty cool actually, because guys since the lockout have kind of specialized in it.
Yep. So, it's not a big. Obviously, it's just in such a slow time of the off season. Obviously, we saw transition away from that as we wait for Devon to get on. He just mentioned he'll be on in like five minutes. So, one thing I saw, who is it out of Columbus traded the Rangers? Who that's still not signed? Roslovic, yeah. So, kind of surprising that he still hasn't chosen a team. And should Buffalo be in that running, or do you even expect them to be in that running, given Yarmo's drafted this guy I was talking to a guy about this at the gym too. Just, how much say does a guy like Jarmo actually have in the roster if like something that feels like it should be a layup with Roslovic hasn't been done yet? I mean, you drafted the guy. He's been a consistent player for you. He's a top 6 guy. I mean, you're kind of, there's a lot of question marks around your top 6. I mean, he's not a top line guy, but, I think he's easily a second line, third line guy, at least, a crazy good depth piece. Your thoughts on that and why he isn't signed yet. And do you really think Buffalo is actually in the right, because their name's not even being mentioned?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think fans have mentioned him, right? We've mentioned him a few times. I think he would slot into that top 6, middle 6 really well. I think it's probably a matter of contract. I think he's a guy right now that probably has some options. So while the summer dies down and there is this kind of like dead period in the NHL calendar, he's probably talking with his agent. His agent's talking with teams. He's trying to figure out what situation is best for him. From his perspective, he would probably have a power play 1, power play 2 role on this team. He potentially would have the opportunity to play on a top line, maybe even with Tage, maybe even with Tuck. So I think the situation would be really good for him. I think it really comes down to contract. Obviously, he had 22 goals, 23 goals last season. So he's got some leverage. But yeah, I think they wouldn't hire Jarmo if he didn't have influence over this type of thing, right? He's a senior advisor. It's not like they were going to pay him whatever they paid him and then not listen to him. So I do believe he does have some influence, and I hope that he's stumping for him because I do think that would push some guys down the lineup a little bit, and it would make the situation for the Sabres forward group a lot better than it currently is.
I just think it makes it more difficult to get away from that narrative that there isn't an internal cap, that if you are, again, around $5 million away from the cap and you're still not using it, and there's a guy out there that should, as we just said, should be a layup to be on this team, given the relationship. I mean, unless he just doesn't want to sign here. I mean, that could also definitely be a possibility. But
my laptop in.
It should just, for me, it should be just. I just don't think you could go into this season with this fan base and not spend to the cap when that has been the narrative with Kevyn Adams now, literally since he's taken the position.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it won't help that narrative. But I think at the end of the day, like, what we think about their cap situation is a little bit different than what Kevyn Adams is thinking about and everything related to it. It seems like a slam dunk, and maybe they've been trying. Like maybe they've been talking to his agent, and it's something we don't know about. I will be pleasantly surprised if they sign him, but as it currently stands, it doesn't seem like they're going to make too many more additions to the roster. So we'll see.
It just, who on this team is keeping you from making that happen? Like what, again, the same guy, and I'll shout out to Casey here from my gym. I saw him in the chat earlier. Like who on this team is keeping you from making that happen? Peyton Krebs? You know what I mean? Like who is it? For me, it should just, if you're not going to have a clear-cut number 1 top line, okay, let's have 3 or 4 second line caliber players. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Like, and Peyton Krebs, given his projections for his next contract, I don't see him in Buffalo beyond this season, unless he really proves himself, to be the guy that they wanted out of that Eichel trade. I just don't see him here beyond this coming season.
Yeah. I mean, hard to say, because I think he could potentially grow into a bigger role this season on the penalty kill and on the 4th line, maybe even the 3rd line moving forward. He's still very young himself, so I think there's a chance. But yeah, who knows? I do think more than anything, we've talked about they need an addition to the forward group, and it could create competition, just like the goalie room, just like the defense, and it would help more than it would hurt. So we'll see what happens, but he's probably not the only guy either. He's probably the biggest name, but I do think there could be trades. There could be a late offer sheet. Who knows? I think there's a lot of ways to change what this opening night roster will be before October 12th or whatever comes around.
No doubt about it. And I saw your tweet. Was it yesterday about Samuelson's story? Gave me a little bit of a chuckle.
I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, it was a good one though. It was a good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is. I have my thoughts. Everyone else has theirs, and we can move forward and not hate each other. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, but that third pairing defensively, like, I really, really hope Ryan Johnson comes in and has a really strong camp and just really pushes Samuelsson out of that spot.
I mean, if we're talking about free money, not free money, but like money off the books, like Samuelsson's contract's not looking too great at the moment. So
no, it's not.
And if you could trade him to a team like Philadelphia, obviously don't want to play armchair GM too much, but there seems to be a lot of guys that could fill that sixth spot or fifth or sixth spot on defense in that third pairing. So who knows? I mean, nothing against the guy personally. It seems like he's pretty well liked in the locker room. He obviously had an A, I think it was last season or the season before. So yeah, I mean, he can golf wherever he wants. It was more of a joke more than anything. But people got very upset. People got really, really upset. I had to mute it because I didn't want him to respond. I muted it. I just didn't want to respond to people. The mute function's great sometimes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And especially if you don't want to be one of those guys, if you're like muting an account, if you don't want to be one of those guys that like blocks people because you don't want to come off soft, the mute button's such a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah. So we can all move forward and love and happiness together.
As we sit here and wait for Devon Levi, I mean, this is really like on brand for him. I'm not going to lie to you, because like there are times where, you know, we'll be like, we'll be texting back and forth, and the like conversation seemingly like abruptly ends, and then he'll answer like a week later. So
it's the mind of a goalie. You never know.
This is like very on par for him. So I apologize for those who've been waiting for Devon. He's a busy guy in the off season. I know he just, you know, he was just at a wedding per his social media, not to get too deep into that, but he did mention some 3-on-3 that he was playing tonight. So we're just waiting on him. Love that. What is that jersey?
It's a Dodger themed jersey. And it's a course that I play at nearby. It's called Penmar, but we had a Ryder Cup against another fellow golf club in the area, and we all wore these jerseys. So that was pretty cool. I got my hockey number and my name on it.
Oh, you do? 33?
34, actually.
It's a 34. Oh, that's right. You want to be one better than Patrick Waugh. I forgot about that.
Never was, but, you know, we'll take it.
He said Wi-Fi is down beyond in 1 sec. So we are momentarily be joined here by Devon Levi. Thankfully. Always, what was it, fashionably late with the Beast.
Nothing wrong with being fashionably late.
I was impressed by that GIF you responded to my tweet with the Rock saying Beast. I'm like, huh, like that is just perfect. It's like
I'm a bit of a I'm a bit of a, what do they say? I'm a bit of a mark now.
Are you watching wrestling?
No, not at all. But we're covering it a lot for work.
You call yourself a mark if you're not.
No, you guys called me that once when I mentioned like AEW stuff. We covered a lot for work, and also with the Hulk Hogan stuff recently. I feel as though I've been consumed with as much wrestling content in the past 2 weeks as I have in my entire life. Even we covered last night on Raw, Becky Lynch talking about John Cena and Nikki Bella's relationship.
Dude, that was awesome.
We did a segment on that today, and otherwise I never would have known that happened. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't love wrestling.
If you get a chance, dude, even if you're not a wrestling fan, you should watch. It's on Netflix, The Unreal, WWE Unreal, where they like pull back the curtain so you can see like what I like. And this is like something that they would never have done like in the 90s, because like there was so much, you know, the word kayfabe. You know, wrestlers didn't like to break kayfabe, like break their character, even in public in front of kids. Remember Chris Jericho in his book once said that like he used to hate like being talked to by kids in public in front of their parents because he wouldn't break kayfabe, and the kids, when he was being a heel, would want an autograph, and he would just ignore.
And that's who does that now? MJF.
Yeah, MJF. Yeah, he doesn't break kayfabe.
He'll be in
WWE soon enough.
So he actually did. We asked him about being. I don't know if anyone saw Happy Gilmore 2. He was in Happy Gilmore 2.
We didn't talk about that. Oh my god.
And we asked him about it, and he broke character to talk about like how much he appreciates Adam Sandler and how he wants to be like an actor in the future. And the clip like did super well because a lot of people were like, this is the first time I've ever seen him break character.
Yeah. Dude, that movie was incredible. It was what it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, how about like the most random cameo from Eminem at the end?
No, I think I had a good time watching it. Number one, I don't think it is going to win an Oscar. I don't think it was intended to win an Oscar.
No.
And the people that are upset about it can like kindly fuck off. Like who? I don't care. I thought it was really cool. All the callbacks. I laughed a lot.
Scheffler in jail for like
the recurring Flask joke I thought was hilarious. Everything about it I thought was really cool. Obviously not. I mean, the nothing beats the original, but I thought they did a pretty good job with the sequel.
I think like the one thing that honestly irritated me probably the most about that movie, and it's so stupid, but like how long it took those three people to realize they were golfing with Happy Gilmore. Like how you're golfing with this guy for like 15 holes, and then you realize it's Happy Gilmore. Like, you just not make eye contact with me with the sunglasses. You don't rock. That's the only thing that irritated me about that movie. But it was great, man. From start to finish, and just the Shooter McGavin's part, and then seeing Adam Sandler give Shooter the jacket at behind the scenes, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I loved it, and I don't think we'll have another one, so appreciate it for while we have it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're out of like stuff to talk about. I don't know, like I can't bullshit anything else. There was really nothing to talk about.
It's crazy though, because like there is a time period from the end of free agency until the beginning of training camp in the NHL world where there's literally no news. There's nothing. Like every agent, every GM, every player is at a cottage in Canada or in Europe somewhere or on a lake in Minnesota. Like these guys just and they're training obviously as you said with Devon, like playing 3-on-3, and even Alex said he plays 3-on-3 every day. But it is just an absolute dead period, and it probably should be because obviously an 82 game schedule, like these guys don't get to spend too much time with their families and whatnot. But yeah.
One thing, one last thing to talk before he gets on here, like I said, he's waiting for his Wi-Fi to turn back on. FHL championships are this Thursday, and Lawton Zacher, a goalie, obviously a Buffalo kid, he actually just signed with Northeastern, kind of like following in the shadow of our guest here in a minute, Devon Levi. Kid is incredible to watch. Like I've gotten to watch this kid now for like 2 months, and Northeastern is getting a really, really good goaltender. And just some of the talent. We have 2 kids that are playing that play in FHL that are currently playing for Team USA right now in the U17 Four Nations tournament. They beat Slovakia today 7-5. Sawyer Schmidt and Jerry DiConzolo. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name, but some of the talent we've seen, like Sawyer, for instance, a couple weeks ago, he's on Team Donkey Kong and they were playing Street Fighter. It's all named after like my favorite video games. And it was just a really nice tic-tac-toe play in front. And he was like maybe up 2 feet in front of the goal line. And he just goes, goalie's in his RVH, but he's not covering that spot like close enough over his shoulder. And he just sneaks it in, bar and in, dude. It was one of the most beautiful goals I've seen so far this FHL season. And, Nick from Justice, and he came and he filmed week 4, and he's going to be there this Thursday to film the championships. Super, super excited. He's actually calling me. Devon's calling me right now. So I'm going to let you talk. I'm going to answer this real quick. So 1 second.
It's a necessary phone call to answer. Well, here I am, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe some of you are watching Hard Knocks on the East Coast. We are here. I'm holding off myself until I watch it at 8 p.m. out on the West Coast. If you are, I hope you enjoy it. I think it's going to be a really good episode. And it's going to be fun. Yeah, I mean, gosh. I've run out of things to talk about myself. How's everybody doing? Put it in the chat. See what you're doing. How's your summer been? Any plans? I'll be back in Buffalo in a couple weeks. Let's meet up somewhere. I'll be down at a few different bars, breweries downtown. Be out and about. Be in East Aurora for a wedding. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be good to get back. I haven't been back since the Bills playoff game in January, so I think that'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, we can have a few good weeks here before the start of the Bills season. It's gonna be a crazy one, I imagine, and I think we need to enjoy this time in the summer to rest and recuperate a little bit. I feel like a late night radio DJ host. I don't know how else to to fill dead air. I'll let us pause for a second. Quick 20 seconds for station identification.
He's having a Wi-Fi problem, but he's going to come on with us from his phone. So I'm not sure how much time. Originally, we were slated to get him for half an hour. Sorry for the holdup here, but we'll try and get as much in as we can in 15 to 20 minutes. As soon as he's on here, he's going to log in through his phone. So, what were you saying before I'd answer that phone call?
I just paused 20 seconds for station identification.
We'll recognize our sponsor right now, Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers. There he is. We got Devon in the program.
There we go. What's up, guys?
Oh, where is he at?
How should I display this? Like this?
Hold on, I gotta get you. Boom, there we go. You're perfect.
What's up, Dev?
Oh, look at the hair. I love it.
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Nothing, dude. Obviously, you're having some issues with the Wi-Fi, but we appreciate you getting in.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm glad I was able to figure it out.
Now joined by Devon Levi, fresh off his new contract. Super excited for you. Congratulations on getting that deal done. How is the offseason been for you so far before we get to the questions we want to ask? And, how is everything, bud?
Yeah, everything's going well. Body's healthy, which is always a blessing. Going into an off-season healthy, being able to work on what you want to work on. So it's been great having a great time on the ice, off the ice, friends and family, traveling around a little bit. So it's been great.
Awesome. I'll let you get it started.
What's the off-season program look like? What's your daily workout schedule? We had Alex on a couple weeks ago, and he talks about playing 3-on-3 every day, and I think Duane mentioned that as well. What's your daily workout schedule? How are you staying fit on and off the ice?
Yeah, I definitely don't play 3-on-3 every day. That sounds awesome. I would love to do that. I play 3-on-3 every week, though. Once a week, I try to sneak it in there just to be in game situations and stuff. I work out Monday through Friday in the morning. I've been skating twice a week for 2 hours right now. I'll probably ramp it up to 3 coming into this week and next week, and then probably go to like 4 or 5-ish by the end of the summer. So just trying to ramp that up slowly. But as of right now, like the majority of my time and energy has been spent like off the ice on working on my body, just getting stronger, healthy, goalie strong. And trying to apply some of that stuff on the ice in my 2 sessions. So it's been fun. It's been a fun summer.
That's awesome, bud. Actually, who are you? Anyone like notable that you're playing? Playing in the offseason with outside of your normal, what we already know about? Like your I forget the goalie coach, your goalie coach's name up there, but who are you playing 3-on-3 with? Anyone notable or just
Yeah, I was in Kelowna for probably a month. I played 3-on-3 there with Kent Johnson, Cole Sillinger. Who else was there? Celebrini was there. Andrew Crystal and his brother. There were it was a good game. It's fun. Lots of guys that just love playing hockey. It's a great hockey culture out west there. I know that they have their game in Vancouver. They play 3-on-3 on the weekends. I think Bedard's there also. I didn't get to go to that one.
Oh, we might have lost him.
Yeah, it's
There he is.
it's been great. Just hopping on a bunch of great players.
Awesome.
So a little bit off the ice, we wanted to ask a little bit about your background. I don't know if you've mentioned this before, but I know you majored in computer science at Northeastern. It's funny because I took a computer science class in college at Syracuse, and it was one of the worst things I've ever done. I had to drop out of the class with 3 weeks to go because I had like a 27 average, and it would have ruined my GPA. I want to know a little bit about like your background in coding and analytically how you think about that, and if that process of doing that type of thing academically and professionally has translated at all to how you think about the position of goaltending, and how on your like day-to-day basis or game-to-game basis, thinking about coding and thinking about the position of goalie, how those two translate.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I could tell you right now, there's definitely no direct translation from coding to goaltending.
For sure.
But it's all like the concepts, like just being able to problem solve, being able to find mistakes and correct them, find bugs. You also have to have like a really deep understanding of what you're doing to be able to be able to pivot at any point. Same thing in goaltending, like just being able to have a plan. Your plan gets punched in the face, and then you know how to adapt and overcome. So those problem solving skills that are super important in coding are obviously just as important in goaltending. And I only started coding when I was in college. Like I had no background in it. My dad is very into AI, and he always said how software and that kind of stuff is the future. So he told me to dabble your feet in it a little bit. So I just went full steam ahead, computer science major. It was hard, man. It was really hard.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
Is it something that like when hockey is over with, you might even express interest in?
Maybe. Yeah. I'm continuing my classes right now. I'm in a summer class right now, so just trying to get my degree. I got 7 classes left, so I definitely want that degree to have the opportunity to be able to continue in computer science, and it's a combined major, so I'm in computer science and business. So in either of those fields in the future, but my mind is pretty far off of that right now. All my time and energy, other than this one, side class that I'm in, all my time and energy is going onto the ice and becoming the best goalie that I could be.
Absolutely. You mentioned in a recent, I don't know how recent it was, but that one of your hobbies, I think it was Dan Fates, right? You like to paint in your downtime. Yeah. You found painting, what other hobbies are you doing in your downtime? Like me specifically, I'm a big documentary guy, especially with the lag right now. I think I've watched everything Netflix and every streaming service has to offer. Because I can't physically do the things I want to do, like golf. But what else are you doing in your downtime? Or to piggyback off the painting thing, what types of things do you enjoy painting?
Yeah, I got into painting last year. I was just shopping and I saw, canvas paintbrush. I was like, let me give that a shot. Let's see if I can do that. And it was at first it was tough, but I don't show the first paintings that I made, but I learned a little bit and I figured it out, and it was really fun, honestly, like super peaceful, just being in your own world. It definitely, time flies when you're painting. It's just kind of like in a meditative state almost, like just super zen, just get to focus on what you're doing and be 100% present with the painting. So I enjoyed that. I like a lot of other activities that kind of involve that. Like I enjoy playing piano, just easy to get lost in playing a song and learning a song. I enjoy reading too. I've been watching a couple of documentaries actually this summer too. I wonder which ones you've seen. I just watched Free Solo. Holy cow!
That's an unbelievable.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to watch the one. the submersible. What's the one about the Titanic?
Oh gosh, I don't want to see that. Do you remember that story about that like little submarine that went down to see the Titanic, and then
that was
exploded
like a couple years ago, right?
Crazy, dude, crazy. Like,
I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, listen, the one thing that irked me the most about it is like this guy who, he was in charge of all this. He had every single person who was in charge of making decisions like this telling him this is a bad idea, but he was just so full of his own ego that he refused it. And like the carbon fibers that surround the tube, you could literally hear them snapping during the documentary as they got deeper and deeper. It was just like, ooh, yeah, but it was an incredible documentary, man.
That's
like
on Netflix?
I think it's on Netflix, yeah, dude. And
cool.
I'm a big murder mystery guy, true crime guy too, so I'll watch all that stuff. But I've really gone deep into it.
That's pretty cool. I'll check that out because I don't know much about that. I'd like to. I remember hearing about it. I was like, oh my god, this is insane. Like people spent a lot of money to get to die, basically, right? That's what happened.
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, drowning is one of my biggest fears, but like being in a submarine specifically feels very strange, and I don't know how people actually do that or feel comfortable doing that.
Awful way to die. That's
it's not for me. Quickly back to the actual position. When we had Alex on, I don't know if you heard any of his initial media interview with the Sabres. He was talking about the position of goaltending. He described it as a fragile baby bird, and he would hold on to things within his goaltending process like a tube of toothpaste. I don't know if you're a golfer. I think Duane told me that sometimes it's described as
I'm not great, but
here and there. But you've held a golf club, right?
Yeah.
So when you hold the golf club, it's been said that you don't want to hold it too tight so that you squeeze the toothpaste out of the bottle, but you want to hold it firm enough that you still hold the bottle of toothpaste. It's an amazing one-liner, and he was eventually getting to a point about how fleeting the position of goaltending can be, and sticking to things that you've known since you were young, since you've learned, and every single level. Like, what aspects about your game do you hold on to still to this day on a consistent basis that help you on a daily basis within practice or in a game that you always think about going into any game?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. I didn't hear that. I've been off social media recently, but I've heard some of his I saw a few clips of him on your podcast, actually, that were pretty cool.
Did you hear what he said about you?
No, what did he say?
Can I bring it up real quick? I'm going to bring it up real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Well, like when you're coming out of school and you got a little bit of momentum behind you, like he had at the time, he was popping off for a little while there, and he was playing really well. And he's still going to be a stud. So yeah, it was awesome. It was crazy, honestly. Like, I still actually can't believe it. I don't know if you guys just want to go into this right now, but like talking or like him coming out of college and just going on a crazy little run there for what was it, 10 games or something like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, to me, and I'm sure you guys know too, like just as goalies, but that's a big jump from college to the pro. So that was impressive to see for sure.
Yeah, he and it went further on beyond that. Obviously, we only play like 30-second clips, but he had a lot of great things to say about you because he played college hockey at Yale, and he knows how difficult playing at that level at such a young age can be, as it was for you. He just nothing but glowing things to say about you.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, he's an unbelievable goalie. I mean, that game that I played against him, and we played in Florida. That 2-1 game, that was probably one of my favorite games I played. That was an awesome goalie battle. He played unbelievable. Basically, he single-handedly kept us out of the playoffs, which was pretty crazy. He's definitely a talented goalie, really smart guy from what I know. Excited to meet him, just talk goalie about it. Just talk goalie with him, pick his brain, learn from him.
Fun fact, he rowed a boat to school. He used to row a boat to school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
From a town in Minnesota that has apparently like 1,000 people, and he went to school in like a schoolhouse. He's got a really, really interesting background.
Yeah,
that's funny. That sounds like a goalie thing to do. I feel like
absolutely.
No doubt about it. I know we only got you here for a couple more minutes, Devon. I know I appreciate your time, given all the circumstances surrounding it. What did you have next for him, Connor? Before we kind of wrap things up here.
Real quick, back to that, kind of related to Alex, just back to like your beginnings. I read that your only experience playing goalie up until you were age 11 was in street hockey with your dad and your friends. And then you picked up ice hockey goalie specifically at age 11. And even from my perspective, like I started skating when I was 3 and then I started playing goalie when I was 6. And especially for someone in your position, it feels like that's something that you would have started at a younger age. I don't know if you could speak to that at all and what your development process was like, probably starting a little bit later than other people have started in your same position.
Yeah. I started off playing hockey probably when I was like 5 or 6. I was skating when I was like 4 or 5. But I only became a goalie later on. I think it might have been 10 or 11. But I think it was great for me just to learn how to play the game of hockey, just like the sport in general, be able to skate. I wasn't the best player. That's ultimately why I became a goalie. But just to understand the, foundations of the game, playing up front, skating and playing with some buddies. And then I just fell in love with the position of goaltending. Like I used to beg my dad to come, or he actually used to, dress me up in the goalie gear in the basement. I think he wanted somebody to shoot on. He's been waiting for a kid probably for a while to play hockey with. So he dressed me, and then he would also go in nets, and he was so good when I was a little kid. And I was like, whoa, like that's so cool. I want my own set of goalie gear. And so he ended up buying me like my own set of street hockey pads and, going outside playing with some friends. I was always a street hockey goalie, and it was just so fun keeping that little orange thing out of the net. It was just like as childish, as innocent as it gets. And that love evolved to on ice and a deep love for the position and for the game. So it's, probably untraditional. I know a lot of the goalies started a little bit younger, but could have been good for my hips too, not to get those extra few years going down.
100%.
Did you wear the Milex, the plastic Milex at all?
What's that?
They're like street hockey pads specifically.
Or did you just go you just use old ice gear?
Oh no, I use like I could send you guys a picture of like my first street hockey pads. They were like foam. I forget what brand they were, but they looked like real like on ice pads, but they were like just like light foam. They were just like just for like ball hockey or street hockey.
I'm thinking of when that would have been for you. There was like Bauer had their own street hockey line. Franklin did.
Oh, it might have been Franklin actually.
Yeah. I still have my street hockey Franklin goalie in the basement and my blocker.
Really?
The grips are all gone. Like if I were to put my hand in the blocker, like it's just your actual fingers, your bare hand, pretty much. But, oh yeah.
That's awesome.
You want to do the lightning round here, or do you want to do one more?
Before that, just I do have a couple questions. Well, one question specifically from the chat. Speaking of gear, like obviously you're a big guy when it comes to your gear, your helmets, stuff like that. Any plans on changing things this coming season?
I haven't actually decided yet.
I love that helmet.
Which one?
The Gladiator helmet. That was sick. Did you like Gladiator too?
I actually haven't seen Gladiator 2 yet. Honestly, embarrassed to admit that with Gladiator on my helmet, but I love the first one so much. I've probably seen it like 7 to 10 times. Like that movie. If I ever need to get fired up for something, like that's the movie that I'm throwing on my TV. So I also heard that the second one wasn't as good, so I've been a little.
It wasn't. No.
Watch it. Yeah, heard it's still good though. So
it was good, but you're never gonna beat the first one. No shot.
Yeah, but I'm a huge fan for the first one. But honestly, this year I've been thinking about some other movies, from my childhood that I love. I haven't come up with like a full idea yet, but I'm kind of dabbling around Surf's Up right now. Maybe getting Cody Maverick on my helmet, some of those penguins.
That's sick.
Yeah, I love that movie growing up. So I haven't fully committed to it, but that's an idea for the helmet. For the gear, honestly, I don't know if I'm going tan again. We're gonna decide that in the next week or so.
Tan was sick.
I love tan so much because it went with anything really. Like
yeah.
I love the old school look. We can hit the lightning round real quick before we get out of here.
All right, we've got 6 super quick questions for you.
Yep.
First, pregame and postgame meal.
It depended if I was in Buffalo or Rochester, but it would mostly be like pasta with chicken and a little bit Alfredo sauce, and then I would have a little bit before my nap and after my nap. So that was like pre-nap, and then post-nap I'd go like a little bit chicken and rice.
Solid.
Get some broccoli in there.
Before we continue, Devon, I just realized the time. Do you got to get out of here right now?
I got 2 minutes. If
Okay. Next question. Favorite athlete, past and present?
Carey Price was my guy growing up. He's one of the reasons why I'm a goalie. Just being in Montreal, being able to watch him. So he's definitely my role model growing up. There's a lot of other athletes that I've been like super interested in like other sports. I've been watching a lot of tennis lately, and some Breakpoint on Netflix, watching like Nadal and Djokovic. I've been able to see in person. Just their mental toughness is like through the roof. Like those are two guys that I've watched a lot of Tom Brady too. He's got a couple documentaries. I love the quarterback series on Netflix, like Mahomes and Burrow and Goff and those guys. Even the receivers show is unbelievable. Just seeing how some of these guys, like the most elite talent in the world, how their approach to the game, and seeing how dialed in and detail specific they are. Super, super cool to see. So I try to take a little bit of everyone, try to take something from everyone, like something I could learn, something that I could apply without losing myself, obviously sticking to, my foundation, but just being motivated and influenced by like the greats around you it's great nowadays that we have access to watching these guys and seeing their day-to-day on TV. So, taking advantage of that, like I love it.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen tonight in Hard Knocks, I think would be a great place to start. I don't know if you've ever seen Hard Knocks, but premieres tonight on HBO, so you can go back and watch that.
No way, cool.
Yeah, go Bills. Last one for me. I'll skip a couple. Favorite restaurant in both Buffalo and Rochester?
Good question. Rochester, I really like this place called Crave. It's like a ramen spot. Really, really good. They have a sister restaurant right next to it also that has sushi. It's great combo of food. Like I probably eaten there like over 20 times each. And then in Buffalo, I really like Giancarlo's. It's
Giancarlo's great.
Yeah, great restaurant. Can't go wrong with that. I really like Rachel's also for just like a quick bite, like Mediterranean place. Yeah.
Another good spot to go is Mulberry. If you've ever been there, Mulberry.
No, I've never heard.
It's great, especially if you're like on a date night. Giancarlo's too. But my last question, I'm actually going to go off. I don't remember if I asked you this question. If I did, I won't. But if you could have dinner with 5 people, past or present, doesn't matter. An athlete, a musician, fictional character, and athlete, musician, family member, and again, past or present, who would it be? 4 people.
Luckily, I think almost all my family members are alive, thankfully. So, I could go to dinner with them whenever I want, so I'm not going to choose them. I'd probably have to go with those guys that I just mentioned, like the great athletes of all time, like guys that I've looked up to my whole life. Just being at dinner, just surrounded by greatness. Obviously those guys have accomplished amazing things, and just they say that you're the product of the 5 people you surround yourself by, or that you talk to the most. So being around guys like that is something that would be obviously a dream.
Yeah. Any musicians in general? I said musician and fictional character.
Yeah, John Mayer, like probably throw him in that category also of like one of the greatest of all times. I just got into him recently. I had 2 buddies that play the guitar that really like him and play some of the songs, and they just were able to explain to me or show me how talented he actually is. And just like understanding that like no one else could do what he does is pretty crazy. And I love his music, obviously a very talented singer also. So he's definitely on that list too.
All right. I mean, that's really just about it for us. I mean,
Sounds good.
You know, the Ovechkin can actually. What was your reaction when you got that in the mail?
Yeah, that was super cool. That was that was really funny. I was laughing. I was like, I didn't even remember him taking a shot. They're probably all dump-ins. But yeah,
I went back and looked. You had some legitimate saves.
Yeah,
I have to go back and watch.
There were at least 3 legitimate saves there, so give yourself some credit.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's super cool. Just being on that short list, and I want to keep that carrying for me with me my whole life. And then when I'm 80 years old, I'll probably crack it open with my goalie coach at school, Mike Condon, who is also on that list, and we'll chug alcohol beer together.
Hasek only allowed 1, so you were better against Ovechkin than dominant. You were better than dominant, only let 1 by. So, Dev, thanks for your time. Maybe we can have you on again sometime soon.
Sure.
But absolutely, dude, thank you for hopping on, and good luck in next season. Excited to have you back on a new contract, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Good luck.
Appreciate you, bud. That was Devon Levi. Obviously, we didn't get him for the full half hour, but we got a decent amount in there, Earls.
That was great. And you can tell how nice of a kid he is, how smart he is. I think a few of his answers really, really go into his thought process and how he approaches the position. And combined with Alex Lyon in that room, and I don't know too much about UPL's personality, but that seems like a good goalie room and a good goalie organization to be in. I'm super excited about the future of the position in Buffalo. And I mean, obviously a great kid and super, super nice of him to join us for as long as he did.
Yep. Again, I think the goalie room is a lot, I think it's definitely grown just obviously in skill and maturity, and with Alex coming into the fold. And, I think I really feel like Dev and Alex have very similar personalities, like you said. So I think there's a good opportunity for possibly them to learn quite a bit from each other. Any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm left with at the moment. Kind of what Alex spoke to about how crazy it was, the run he came on when he did after college, and the adversity that he's faced since going to Rochester, performing as well as he has, and going along the development path that he is. I think that's a really good sign for his future. I spoke about Dustin Wolf's AHL journey and what he eventually needed to do to get into the NHL himself. Dev would need to play 100 more AHL games to meet what Dustin Wolf did. And they're similar profiles of goalies. So I think he's definitely on the right path, and he's got the right approach to it. I think he is, like, as he said, he's working as hard as he possibly can to be the best goalie he can be. And he's motivated by greatness. He's motivated by those that came before him. And I think attitude, especially with how mental the position of goalie is half the battle, or probably more than half the battle when it comes to that position specifically. So I'm super encouraged, really excited to see what he does this year, especially in training camp, see if he can push those guys a little bit. And either way, in Buffalo or Rochester, I think we got a really good one, and excited to see what transpires here.
Yeah. And I'm pretty pumped we got to play that clip from Lyon for him.
Yeah,
I think it's cool that it's pretty cool that he watched part of the episode. That's pretty sick.
100%. And I think I think it'll give him a little bit of an idea, if he hasn't already, what type of personality he's walking into, which is like one of the most in Alex Lyon, one of the most like thoughtful, authentic guys we've ever been around, and in the same way that Devon is, honestly, like two really, really good guys. And I know from what I've heard that UPL is as well. So I'm stoked. I think the Sabres defense and goaltending is in as good of a position as we've had for a long time. And we'll see what happens with the forward group. I don't necessarily think what everybody is mocking is what is going to be the opening night lineup. So got a couple months here, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm glad we got him on for the amount of time that we did. I think we got, obviously we had our bullet list of questions we wanted to ask. I think we got through most of them, but whatever's there remaining, if we have him on again before the season starts, we will, we'll have some more questions to ask him. So that's about it for me. Just want to remind everybody, this has been brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier American tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 6 different Western New York locations. if you need a beer, make sure you make it a fatty beer. Let them know 2 Goalies when Mike sent you. Until next time, as always, go Sabres.